Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Mainnet 2023 in New York City. Joining us for this segment, we have Tara Fung. She's co-founder and CEO of Co-Creator to discuss Web3 rewards and loyalty tools for community-focused brands. Tara, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Thank you for having me, Jill.
You got it. And why do you think co-creation is regarded as a vital strategy for brands these days?
I think it's because people have endless options and distractions, and so it is a better way to engage with your audience and to want them to take part in what you're creating. It both provides intent data, when you understand what people want and give them a voice in the products and services you're bringing to market. It's very valuable intent data that allows you to know what you should be creating, but it also results in people's buy-in for those products you end up creating. One of our clients is Kiki World, if you've heard of them. They're a decentralized beauty brand, and they enable folks to vote on the products they're going to bring to market. And what they've found is that the people who vote on the next color, the next product, they end up purchasing at a 3x higher conversion rate than the industry averages. So it's good business, and it's good to have people's voices heard.
How have consumer expectations of brands evolved in Web3 relative to the expectations that they have in Web2?
I think Web3 is both a technology and an ethos. From a technical perspective, what blockchains unlock is the ability to have ownership, greater degrees of ownership of digital assets, but also things that can represent physical products, but also to be able to take those things and have interoperability in other environments. And so technologically speaking, that's changed people's expectations around what they deserve. And in terms of the ethos, Web3 is very community-centric.
Right.
It's about having voices heard, and so the best brands in the world and the ones that I think are going to succeed in the future are the ones who are going to listen the most to their customers and give them voice, say, and ownership in the brands that they're building, the products they're bringing to market, and the directions they take as a company.
It's so interesting because we see that parallel between Web 2 and Web 3 in all verticals, where it's no longer the intermediary telling you what you want to hear or buy, but the consumers are driving the choice. I mean, you know that's the case in fintech, right? So what is it about Web3 loyalty infrastructure that allows for advancement beyond the traditional approach?
Yeah, well, loyalty programs initially, I'm a nerd at heart. I think a lot of us here are.
At a tech conference.
Yeah, and one of the things that we saw when loyalty programs came out, there was a historical program called S&H Green Stamps. And it was fascinating because it was a single company that would actually sell physical stamps to merchants. So it was a single currency loyalty program, if you will, that spanned across multiple merchants. And what merchants did is they purchased those stamps and they gave them out to consumers in order for those consumers, when they came to their shop and bought products, they collected these stamps. And then they would go and be able to redeem those stamps for good services with S&H. But the power of it was there wasn't a single merchant who was deciding all of the rules and could change the rules overnight. The merchants had to make commitments. They had to make mutual commitments to the end customer. And as we've seen the evolution of loyalty programs change, it's gone from, hey, the merchant is actually paying up in advance, making commitments of what you're going to get in the future, to a unilateral decision of, I set the rules and I can change them overnight whenever I want. We saw this just last week with Delta. They decided to change their loyalty program, and people are up in arms because Delta set rules, people participated, they changed their behavior to meet those rules and to achieve status, and Delta has come out and said, you know what, I'm changing the rules and I have the right to do that, and my commitments to you actually weren't commitments, they were how I thought about it at the time, and I've decided it's going to be different going forward. And so when I think about blockchain technology at its core, it's computers that can make commitments, and I think that the best brands in the world going forward are going to make stronger commitments to their customers, and that's going to relate to loyalty programs as well, about what you're earning, what you're owning, allowing you to get status that is earned but never owned is not the way of the future, and I think that that's what blockchain is going to change.
So since launching co-creation, what are some of the challenges brands have experienced with Web3 communities?
So when I was starting Co-Create, one of the things that I noticed, because I come from an enterprise background of working with large institutions, and I noticed that these brands, even well-intentioned brands, they were getting stuck. They were getting stuck with the technical complexity. There are heartbreaking stories of brands actually setting up their smart contracts and coding them wrong, and they aren't able to get the funds out, or the key management was poor, and so someone stole the private key and the funds were taken. So there were technical challenges, but there were also regulatory challenges. brands did not understand the rules of the road, what they were allowed to do, what they weren't allowed to do. And then third, those technical challenges that brands experienced, consumers did as well. It was so hard to engage. It was so hard to get your own self-custodial wallet set up, to manage your own private seed phrase, to connect your wallet to these varied experiences, to make sure that you weren't making a mistake. And so what Co-Create does is we created an API-first platform that allows any brand to embed Web3 powered experiences within their existing web apps and mobile apps. And so we create wallets with an email address and use MPC technology to obfuscate the complexity of seed phrases and the risk associated with that. We manage all of the brand's on-chain assets. We allow them to control the transfer restrictions of their tokens so that they aren't concerned about the SEC coming after them and saying, hey, you just launched an unregistered security. So we're really trying to allow the best brands in the world to focus on the stories they want to tell and the experiences they want to provide, not all the technical complexity in order to bring those to life.
Do you think the consumer even realizes that they're dealing with a new technology? Because it sounds as if you're helping them to make it so seamless at Co-Create.
That is the goal, and in fact the panel that I'm on Friday here is about stealth mode, how the next wave of consumers won't even know it's crypto. I think it is a balance, if I'm being very candid, because the more you know, the more you understand and appreciate it, but if you have to tell someone why they should care, then you've already lost. It should be experience first. You should be able to understand, appreciate the benefits before you have to understand them, and so that's what we're really focused on.
All right, we appreciate the insight, Tara. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.